Hey guys, Kevin here to bring you a brand new video where today we're going to be doing day 24 of Failed Film February. And the film that we're going to be talking about today is called The Hudsucker Proxy. Now, this is kind of a strange name for a movie, but it is a movie directed by the Coen brothers. And I actually just found out that Sam Raimi was also involved with this as well. So yeah, he and the Coens actually both wrote this, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I like this film a decent amount. Like, there's definitely like some things that are like off about it to me, but like I kind of like had a good time with it. But I don't know. I was like very like mixed on it initially, and I was like unsure of whether I really like liked it a lot. Like, I feel like I did like it. It's just like I didn't like it that much, but I did like it. Like there's definitely like enough there for me to say that it was a good movie. So yeah, the Hudsucker Proxy is all about, this guy who's essentially like rising to the top as president. Kind of like making fun of the fact that anyone will just become leader suddenly. Like, this guy literally just like walks in, gets a job, and then has a letter to deliver, and then before you know it, he's president because they'll just hire anybody. And he can do the job, and he invents stuff. He literally invents the hula hoop. I mean, like, it goes to show, it's like, I mean, does it really matter who they hire? So yeah, with that being said, this is like a commentary on, like, the work industry, and like how like messed up it can be, and how like it doesn't care about its workers, how it takes advantage of them, how it abuses them, how it manipulates them, how it's like so corrupt. Like, it definitely like touches on a lot of like points about like workplaces being problematic with their relationship to their employees. And this applies in both like the blue collar sense and the white collar sense, because you have like this Tim Robbins character who initially starts working in the mailroom, which is a very like blue collar like position. And there's a lot of like humor in this, that gets used, that's really funny, but also at the same time it's effectively getting at the problems in workplaces, because there's like this introduction that he has with this guy, and he's like rattling off all these things to him about if you do this they'll dock you, and if you this is your employee number, don't forget it, I'm not going to say it again, if you do this they'll dock you. And like, it's so funny the way he said that. But yeah, so like right out of the gate, they're throwing all these things at him. They're pressuring him to like stay on task and whatnot. And there's like a funny part where this guy Hudsucker, wearing Hudsucker, died like, towards the beginning of the movie, and they're like, we're going to observe a moment of silence for this guy. And then they do, and then afterwards the announcer is like, so that's going to be deducted from your pay. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So there's just like a lot of like funny things like that, and this is just like a really funny movie in general, especially with like Tim Robbins, like the way his character is, and like how he talks in such a way that's like, he's trying to like show this like confidence with like how he speaks to other people, with like how he makes decisions as this president, and how he's trying to like be the big man, and make all the right decisions and whatnot. And especially with like this girl, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, she's like all up in him, and he's trying to like defend himself, and it just makes for a lot of like fun interactions in that way. And Tim Robbins, he's both like he's kind of like naive and oblivious to what's going on. He's getting like manipulated, and at times he's like sad, at times he's like depressed. I just feel like Tim Robbins, throughout this whole thing, he plays it like so well. And also, Bruce Campbell is in this movie, and I just appreciate that because Bruce Campbell's awesome. Any screen time he gets is great. I really appreciated him, even if the role he had was, a little small, but it was pretty good. And Steve Buscemi is also in this movie for a little bit. He makes a really funny cameo, which is one of my favorite, most hilarious parts of the movie. At one point, Tim Robbins like goes to this like bar, but it's not really like a liquor bar. But he keeps asking for a martini, and Steve Buscemi has to like keep telling him like, "No, this is a coffee bar. We don't serve martinis here." And he has to keep like he keeps asking for the martini like over and over again, and Steve Buscemi's like, "No, we don't do that here." It's just like so funny. But I was very like middle of the road on this movie though, like up until the end, because the ending for this is what I feel like redeems it in a lot of ways, and if it wasn't for this ending, I feel like I wouldn't have liked it as much. But the ending for this just like kind of ties everything together in such a nice way, because everything that you've come to know kind of like comes back to this moment. And it's a little bit silly, it's a little bit like unrealistic, a little bit outrageous, as the rest of the film is, though. Like a lot of the elements of the film are just like you know over the top, stupid, wouldn't happen in real life. But it makes it entertaining at times. But this is one of those where it's like, yeah, I mean that would never happen in real life, dude. Come on, really? But it fit the story, and I thought it was done really well, and I like the way it brought everything together, and it brought back this story element of this blue letter that Tim Robbins was supposed to deliver, and it kind of like wrapped everything up nicely because it like all came full circle. So yeah, what I didn't like about this was that at times it felt like it dragged on a little bit. Like there was just like I feel like there wasn't quite enough there to keep me in it, because at the end of the day, this is kind of just like a movie about Tim Robbins being a sad sack, and getting manipulated, and hating himself, and trying to be the best president. I just feel like there's not quite like enough there to keep me in it, especially like in the later part of the movie. Not the ending, but like towards like the middle to end, like it started to kind of like drag a little bit, just with like where it was going. And the other big thing is Jennifer Jason Leigh. Man, I don't get what this performance is. I cannot get with it at all. And this is one of those things that kind of like reminds me a lot of like the reason why I don't like Fargo. Sorry, that came off the wrong way. I do like Fargo. I just don't like it that much. Yeah, due to those characters. Because the characters in Fargo are like so like over the top and like cartoony, and like just like way too much with their like acting, with like the way they talk, with their accents, like. And with this it's like there's this character played by Jennifer Jason Leigh's, like she talks like so fast, and she has like this accent where it's like, you see, this is the way things are around here. This is how we do it now. Like, okay, dude, fucking A. Jesus Christ. Like, this is literally like out of a cartoon. Like, holy fuck, dude. And, apparently this is like how people used to talk in old times, but, the way it comes off here just doesn't feel right. Yeah, her character just is like off putting to me. And, while this like outrageous, stuff can often be fun and entertaining, it can also often just be like a little bit too much at times, where I was just like, yeah, cut it down a little, like just like a little too much on it. And, with also like the commentary stuff, it's a little bit like, heavy-handed how it like lays it on you so much. So yeah, I enjoyed this a decent amount though. Like I think it's a solid movie. I think it is worth watching, and it's enjoyable, but like this like pales in comparison to something like No Country for Old Men, which is like, way better than this, but it's still a decent film. So yeah, I'm going to give this film a 7.3 out of 10. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.